Guys, Larry K from Night Watch here with an instant post-game recap. Seton Hall, Rutgers. Dylan Harper hits the game-winning shot with seconds left on the clock. Wasn't the shot I would have loved for him to take, but it works out nonetheless. You got to give props to Dylan. He's been dreaming about this moment since he was a young kid in the stands, and it's great to beat our in-state rival Seton Hall. Hats off to the Seton Hall fans. I know no one wants to hear that, but they were in the building. They were loud and proud. When you're also from Jersey, you can't get too mad about it, especially because I go to the Rock, which is down the block from me, and make plenty of noise when we're away at Seton Hall. And I'll be making noise at the Rock next Saturday against Princeton. So is what it is. Valiant effort from the Hall fans, but they still go down. Frank the Tank was in the building and got booed quite a bit. So it is what it is. But look, first of all, before I go any further, can you do me a huge favor, guys? Hit that subscribe button right there. I'm after the game. It's cold out. You know, had to travel heaven and earth because there's no more Porta-Johns out here for some reason. And I drank quite a bit of water in there. So can you just go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Let's grow Night Watch. We've had plenty of listeners. Not everybody who listens clicks subscribe, so it would be an awesome thing. But look, I'm just going to say it. I'm glad we won. We needed to win, but it's still not good enough. I don't know that look, gutsy performance in the second half to win the game. I thought it really turned about a third of the way through the second half. The crowd, props to the crowd, by the way, got really into it, kind of willed them in a way, got behind them. Our playmakers started to make a difference. But early in that game, it was really the Ace Bailey show and nothing else in the first half. Props to Ace and Dylan, both once again clearing 20 points each. I think Ace might have had 21, Dylan 24. Don't quote me. Ace, again, 7 rebounds. I thought once again he was a presence down low, especially in the first half. Second half, he made some moves from the outside, which we needed, and did his thing. Was always a presence around the boards and grabbing rebounds. Jordan Durkak, I think he got 9 points from him, maybe 5 rebounds, something around there. Jordan Durkak is not the most consistent player, but I'll take him to battle any day of the week. I mean, even if he's going to the rim and he's not having success, at least he has the audacity, might I say, to take it to the hole no matter what. He's always ready to play ball. Jermichael Davis at certain times was overcommitting. Ogbole, comes out as one of the starters early in the second half. I thought he was a presence on the boards and around the rim, but not getting enough from Ogbole on the defensive side of the ball. Somerville, really, we kind of settled in the second half as we were chipping away and making moves. At some points, we had Durkak in there instead of Jermichael Davis. Somerville was kind of a constant instead of Ogbole. At other times, we brought Jermichael Davis back in. Once for Jeremiah Williams. And by the way, Jeremiah Williams went up there and got some boards for us too. Defense still just not good enough, but in this game, with the score, the defense wasn't horrible. But then again, Seton Hall is not a great team shooting the ball. We actually outshot them from 3. They weren't anything special from anywhere on the floor, really, but they consistently, Somerville was cheating up and looking for the double team or trying to cover a screen for a teammate, and his man beat him in the back door, and the guy got up there and had easy layups and easy dunks throughout the game. It's got to get better. And then, you're looking at the score, and it wasn't like the defense was the problem per se. Our offense early in that game was very sloppy. Like I said a few weeks ago, it feels like to get anything, Ace Bailey in that first half had to fight heaven and earth and move mountains to get a couple points. And everything else was extremely difficult. And Seton Hall looked like early in that game, Holloway had them out there and they're running plays. They're looking to the bench to get direction to see what they're going to run. And they look more fluid on offense. And Rutgers looked like, they had their feet in cement blocks again and they couldn't get anything going. Second half it changed. Dylan Harper obviously was a force. Guys did what they had to do. And it's funny, like Dylan Harper, even again, when it doesn't look like his most, superb game, he's still the scoring leader. He's just that good. But with a guy that good, It's frustrating that we can't beat Seton Hall by much more. Look, I know it's an in-state rivalry. I know you throw everything out the window when these two teams go against each other. I'm still glad we won this game. But the way Seton Hall's been playing this year and the way their season looks, you don't want to go down to the wire with them like that. It's just, and it's not because I'm looking at Seton Hall as, with thumbing up my nose. It's because, Rutgers has to play better, and there's still things that are consistent problems that you can point out. The free throw shooting was abysmal. If we just sink one of those free throws at the end of that game, we miss 4 straight free throws. If we sink just one of those free throws, we don't even have to make that miraculous, I wouldn't say miraculous, but that good shot at the end, because we already would have been winning the game and had it in hand. Sub 50% free throw shooting's just not good enough. And Seton Hall we outshot them, I think, by 1 from 3. It wasn't like they were setting the world on fire. I think Coleman had a decent game, I believe his name was. But, we're not playing a lights out shooting team. We're not playing, Iowa in their prime right now, and yet we're still struggling to keep up for most of the game, and then struggling to hold them off at the end of the game, and it's a problem. Early in the game, we saw P.J. Hayes get some run once again, and I was hoping that, and he did hit a nice 3, but I was hoping that P.J. Hayes connection, if we could move the offense and get guys open looks and create shots, that P.J. Hayes would start to be a more consistent force for our offense, because we clearly need it. This is another game where Ace and Dylan are way over here and everybody else is way below it. And you'd really like for a guy like P.J. Hayes to be a more consistent offensive weapon, but we just can't figure out a way to get him the looks that we need. And early in that game, when he got his run, we really weren't getting him good looks. Guys were standing around again. There was a stretch in that first half where Martini and Hayes were in at the same time, and both of them are standing on the baseline waiting for the shot, and they're not getting the ball, and everything else is stagnant because then the guy with the ball is just going ISO, and nothing's happening. They were doubling Harper early in the game at the top, and yet you still couldn't get those shots. So Hayes still struggles on defense. Martini goes in there, struggles on defense, doesn't make a huge impact, misses free throws. And then the second half, you really don't see him again. And I think that going forward is not going to be great. Yeah, you could shorten the rotation and say, well, these guys just aren't giving us enough. You got to sit them, and that's fine. But then you're going with the starting 5, the new revamped starting 5, and then you're playing Durkak in there, and you're playing Somerville in there, and Somerville gives you something offensively, and sometimes, later in the game, Somerville came down with some key boards, he came down with some key stops, and he's a growing, developing player. So I love Somerville getting the reps. He's the future. I love his game. I think he's going to continue to develop, but as of right now, you're still having some issues defensively down there, and guys are still giving effort, but still struggling in some places defensively. But you need more from these guys. And yeah, Martini and Hayes, they're not the most sheer athletically, talented guys per se, but this is Seton Hall and a Seton Hall team in a down year. So this isn't like you're playing A&M again, or you're playing Alabama, or you're playing in the Big Ten against upper echelon teams. These guys should be able to hold it down to some extent, given what their resumes were beforehand, before getting here, and yet they're still seeing some of the same problems. So that was disappointing, because I thought after that Penn State game that we'd see more of that, contribution from P.J. Hayes, and we didn't. We did see effort from Jermichael Davis on the defensive end of the ball. We did see more off-ball Dylan Harper again, and when he was off-ball again and he was able to create, more happened. Sometimes he was on ball and still willed it, including on that last shot to victory. But I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer as I'm out here outside J. Mike's Arena, and I'm happy that we beat our in-state rival. We hoist the trophy, and we do it with our young star scoring the winning basket. I'm happy about all of that, but if I'm sitting here, I'm still critical of some of the things we saw. Maybe it's not fun. Maybe Larry needs some time off or something. So check me in the comments and check me in general if I seem like I'm too negative after a win. Happy we won the game. Like the defensive effort. I like that in the second half, we kept the rotation smaller and played the guys who were giving us the most. Obviously, props and hats off to our 2 extremely talented freshmen. They've been thinking about this game since they got here. Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, another awesome game. Awesome moment for Dylan Harper. And props to the role players, especially, a Jordan Durkak, a Jeremiah Williams, who maybe didn't have the stellar games on the points side of things, but contributed in other ways. Jordan Durkak especially, respectable game to say the least. And what they gave us on the defensive side of the ball later in the game. But at the end of the day, man, still stuff to work on. You get through another much-needed victory in December. We are onward and upward. You got Princeton coming up, and you have some games you need to get on the win column for December to stay on target. We will do that, guys. If you haven't done so yet, click that subscribe button. Check out the football regular season recap I just released. And, I'll be with you soon to break down some hoops a little bit more in depth. But this was just a rapid reaction. So excuse my mood and everything else going on. It was still a fun time at the rack to beat an in-state foe. Some cool stuff with the production of the game. It was a lot of fun. So everybody out there who's a fan, enjoy the win. And still a lot to work on. Still a lot to discuss. Make sure you check everybody else out. Click subscribe. Larry K is out. Talk to you soon.